Whenever there's an apparent knowing or an apparent unknowing, is ego trying to take itself into a particular side, a particular position, a particular stance to defend what it has to say. But there's a constant battle between that innocent mind and that needful, hopeful, desiring, attentive, look at me mind. And humans, we experience it every day in our life, every day in our life. And we create words and identities to actually portray that. One minute I'm really feeling like I want to give something to the world, the next thing I feel as though I'm not getting enough from the world. And both of these are ego. But the one that reels both of these statements back in and really realizes I'm just observing that thoughts is your pure self. I'm not participating or non-participating in these thoughts. These thoughts are taking place. These thoughts are happening. And I am the witness of these thoughts. I am not for them, or nor am I against them. I am not judging them, nor am I non-judging them. I am not measuring them, nor am I not immeasuring them, unmeasuring them, whatever. I am not valuing them, nor am I defacing them or non-valuing them. They're appearing. The body is appearing. The body is changing. The thoughts are appearing. The thoughts are changing. Time is appearing in our mind. Time is changing. The inability to control the change upsets me. The ability to control the change also upsets me. It doesn't upset me, the person, upsets the balance of me, the balance of life. Whatever is taking place is taking place. That upsets the ego. Ego says, I want to control what's taking place. That upsets the pure self. No. Leave it to nature. Leave it to life. Leave it to God. Leave it to allow it to unfold on its own. I made a video many years back about thought. And this thought came to me. And the thought, this is how the thought, the words, how the words came. And when they came, it wasn't like a thought that you just address through a mind and say it's a good thought or a bad thought or an important thought or a non-important thought. The thought had wisdom. And the thought came like this. The thought of hunger is feeding itself. And the wisdom says, look at it. What is the thought saying? What is the content behind that imagined or meaningful or created human ways of giving life to content? What is the content before it? The thought of hunger is feeding itself. And of course, instinctively, a dual meaning came. The thought of hunger in a language way, in a human way. The thought of hunger feeding itself. The thought of hunger is feeding itself. I think there was an is. The thought of hunger is feeding itself. Meaning, the thought of hunger is about feeding. So the thought has created a narrative to say, look at me, I am a thought. My thought that my whole consistency of me is hunger. And this hunger needs to be fed. So I'm feeding myself. So the thought of hunger is actually feeding giving nourishment to itself. And the other way, the thought of hunger is, that's the meaning, is feeding. Is feeding. Meaning itself is just it projecting the thought and then understanding what the thought is. I know what I am. I am the thought of hunger and I'm feeding myself. The thought, the answer is hunger. The answer is hunger, and it's the answer that gives it nourishment to itself. Now, this was quickly followed by, there is only one thought. There is only one thought that exists. And all subsequent thoughts are born from it. And the thought is, I exist. So the thought I exist is all the thing. So that thought of I existing is what matters to itself. I understand that I exist. That's all that's important. That is all that is important for myself, understanding this incredibly large, massive, limited thought, limitless thought. I exist. The thought I exist is existence itself. It's existing as itself. It's incredible. All thoughts that arise from I exist are subsequent thoughts, but they're all born from the thought I exist. The thought about the mountain being high, tall, large, pointed, whatever you want to call the mountain, arises from the thought from me, I give birth to the thought, I understand the thought, I see the thought, I live with the thought, I caress the thought, I like the thought, I dislike the thought, I. The thought of hunger is feeding itself was something saying there are two meanings to everything. The meaning that I exist to see myself, and the meaning I exist. There is no self. I is an existing tower that is not pertinent to me. When I say the mountain exists, that's not me. When I say I exist, that's not me. That appears to be me because we take ownership of the ego I, the me. So when you say I am Graham, that's me taking ownership of the name that was given to me by my parents. When you say I is John, it's not true. My name's not John. I'm not John. John may be over there. You may be John. I is not John, you see. So I cannot be John. I cannot be the mountain. So when you speak as if you're saying, I is enlightened, all listeners will say, taking ownership of enlightened, being enlightened. This I, this person is taking ownership, stating a fact that he is enlightened. No, I is not this I. The I that I speaks about, the ego speaks about, is the I, the towering I, that over there is enlightened. It's not really over there, it surrounds us, you know. When you say awakening is awakening itself, you think the meaning of awakening, the word awakening, is awakening. But it's also the double meaning that awakening, whatever awakening is, not pertinent to me, not my awakening, not the body's getting up in the morning, and not that spiritual awakening, that there is something out there that is called awakening. Look over there, that's awakening, and it's awakening itself. So you're speaking dually as in this when you discover your other side of I. You're speaking dually. You have the I, me, the person, the ego, the human, the man with the folding arms, with his story of being at school and this age and this job and this address and this. That's the I. The other I is I exist. When you say everything is whole, you're speaking from the I exist. I exist as a whole, not me. I am within this existence. That's the only thing you'll know is true. You are within existence. You cannot not be outside of existence because you would be dead. You would be non-existing. You wouldn't be able to be here. You wouldn't be doing anything. You would be non-existing. Yeah? Still an ego state, but it's a fact. The only thing you know is I exist. I exist is still an ego state. When you sit silently, with no mind, no thoughts, like a Buddha statue, but are breathing, you have no capacity to speak, smell, hear, taste, touch. You are beyond existence. You are before I. No point, you see. What's the point, you know? When you reach that state, you say, okay, this is bliss. This is beyond Satchit Ananda. This is peace. This is tranquil. This is freedom. This is liberation. I don't know who's speaking here. I don't know what's going on. But it's of no use in this human world. I mean, Buddha sat underneath the bonsai tree for years and years, and everyone was in awe. But there was no change in society. There was no change in the world. There was no change in the universe. Because Buddha knew that the universe is changing within itself. The universe is changing within itself. Consciousness is changing within itself. Life is changing within itself. The body is changing within itself. The mind is changing within itself. So when you say you know something, yeah, in that present moment, in the next moment it's going to change. In a time moment, it's going to change. Yeah? Right now I can say there's a shadow on the wall created by the sun behind, and the shadow is of me pointing at the wall. When the sun goes behind the clouds, it's going to change. There's just going to be a wall. And here it goes. It's going. Oh, God's playing jokes. He's nuts. He's no, you're not that smart, Potty. I'm not allowing you to take control and ownership of life. And that's what happens every day. Is that not true? I have a plan. Everything's going to go smooth today. That's not going to happen, says God or nature or consciousness. It's not going to go as smooth as you think. It may go smoother, actually. In your conceptual way or ideological way of what smooth is and what smooth is not. The thought is all that exists. Subsequent billions of thoughts are born from this thought, but they all evolve around I. So when you want to find the originality, the origin of life, the true you, the genuine you have to go through I. You have to visit I. So you have to go and find this tower that is surrounding you. How can you find it? Because you are the core of your world. If you had a compass, yeah, for you to see whatever it is you could see, regardless of how wide open the legs of the compass are, the center point has to be you. It has to revolve around you. So you are the core of your world. The center body of the body is the hara. That's where everything is taking place. Anything that's taking place here is temporary. It's going to explode at one point during your livingness, or when the body actually takes its last breath, that's going to go pop. Bye, Popsy. Bye, information. Goodbye, all subsequent thoughts. What remains is the thought, not I exist, but consciousness, my truth exists. And in this consciousness, there's no person, there's no man, there's no form, there's no body. You dissolve into the core of yourself, into the endless pot of love. That has no beginning and no end. You've transformed, transcended. You've transcended the thoughts. You've transcended the body. You've transcended the breath. You've transcended what you're here to transcend. You don't have to worry about if there's anything comes next, because next is time. We're all living billions of lives at the same nanosecond. But our minds, so gifted, so intelligent, unfolded like it's on a day-to-day basis, a breath-to-breath basis. And to understand it will make you go absolutely nuts and end up in a hospital, walking around in circles, blurbing. The idea is not to understand it. The idea is to be it, live it, love it, recognize it, realize it, and be grateful